Well, once again, I think that if you look at the talent level of the two teams, the talent level is very equal. Colorado State probably has, if you count all the receivers, the best receiving core that will have played against to this point. The quarterback's playing very efficiently. They had a big win last week against Air Force. They had a bye week, so they're going to be fresh. They're going to be confident. They're going to be ready to play, and it's probably going to be a pretty good challenge for us.
Rocky, your teams, how have they been through the last few years coming off of buys? I should have done my homework and looked at your record afterwards.
I think that the teams I've been the head coach of have a pretty good record after buys. I'm thinking maybe 9-1 or 10-2 or something like that. A bye week, especially late in the season like they had, and we're going to get next week, really refreshes your team, because there's a bunch of guys at this time in the season that are playing with strains and bumps and bruises and everything. They're not playing at 100%, not even close to 100%. They're not injured, but they're beat up. And when you get a bye week, if you give them time off, which everybody does this time of year, you give them time off, maybe even hold them out of a practice or two, they get healthy, they get fresh, they get excited about playing football again, and so we'll be playing against a team that's healthy and as fresh as they'll be since the first day of practice.
So does it kind of come naturally, Rocky, that there's not as much of a kind of a physical or mental letdown because it's a lift and getting the rest?
You're really concerned going into a bye week after a loss. If you go into a bye week after a win, it's the best thing in the world, because everybody's happy and everybody gets well quicker that way. They're more excited about having the bye week. They're more excited about the rest of the season. You go into a bye week after a loss and everybody's depressed. And the only way you get over a loss is to get to play another game. And if you have a bye week, you don't get to play another game for a long time. They came off a big win against Air Force into their bye week, so they were happy. They're going to be healthy. They're going to be excited about playing. They can see nothing but positives. And they'll be a confident football team.
I'm assuming Utah State was a pretty confident team coming in here, and I'm sure their coach told them everything, protecting them against, looking past you guys after their big win over Boise State. Now you guys are really, in a sense, Utah State coming into this game. You're coming off a huge win. What's your strategy to protect against all that?
I mean, that's a concern. That's a concern of mine because of the experience I've had as a coach. Most young people believe what they want to believe. Okay, no matter what you tell them, and no matter how you educate them, most young people at this age believe what they want to believe because they know best. So you have to rely on the older, more mature guys on your team that have been through similar situations over their athletic career to make the rest of the team realize that's not the case. And I agree. There's a chance that Utah State was still living the dream of beating Boise State, and our team was ready to play, and they got caught in the avalanche and they couldn't do anything about it. And that is a concern of mine this week for our football team. For the reasons that we've already mentioned. So it's concerned now. It was addressed yesterday. It'll be addressed today. It'll be addressed tomorrow. It'll be addressed on Thursday. It'll be addressed on Friday. It'll be addressed before the game on Saturday. But they're the ones that have to believe it and realize it and go about their business like they have the last 4 weeks. They're the guys that have to do it.
So instead of you having to do 6 Newt Rodney speeches, Do you designate players to do that also?
No, they're not. They're not Newt Rockne speeches. They're just stating the facts. And sometimes it's the exact same fact from day to day to day. You know, you just state the facts to them, and you tell them what's out there if they win, and you tell them what's out there if you lose. You tell them exactly where you are in the season, what you have to do to win the conference championship, what you have to do to get in a bowl game, what they have to do to win the conference championship, what they have to do to get in a bowl game. You just give them the facts, and then hopefully they make the right decision.
What's the best motivational speech you ever gave?
I don't think I give motivational speeches. I believe that preparing a football team for a game on Saturday started yesterday. You prepare them on Monday through Friday, and on Saturday they either play or they don't play. I've heard some amazing speeches by coaches as a player, and I was so excited about the game. And then the first time someone knocked the heck out of me, guess what? That speech went right out the window, and it was a football game. And I remembered that as a player. It didn't matter how excited the coach got me before the game. If I hadn't prepared all week, I was not going to play well. If I had prepared all week, it didn't matter how lousy the speech the coach gave me before the game. I played well because I prepared all week. So that's the way I treat our team. We try to prepare all week, just like I said it was addressed yesterday, on how excited Colorado State, how fresh they're going to be, how excited they are about playing us. That was addressed yesterday. It'll be addressed every single day. And it's not a fire-up speech by any means. It's just a reality speech.
So what's the main thrust of what you would say right before a game and right at halftime?
Well, I'm not telling you. We say the same thing before every game, so now I'm not telling you what that is. Halftime, it's based on how we played in the first half. Because sometimes there's some strategy adjustments that you have to make that will give you a better chance to play better. Sometimes it's just challenging their manhood. Sometimes it's patting them on the back and telling them it's going to be okay. Depends on what happened in the first half.
Do you guys break into position groups in the locker room at halftime to talk?
Jeff addresses the offense. I address the defense, and then we break up into position groups. And the position coaches we gather together as staffs and decide on adjustments we're going to make. And then we talk to them as a group. And the assistant coaches put the adjustments in by position. And then I talk to the whole team before we go back out.
That's a lot to do in a short period of time.
Yeah. And what's funny is you're used to doing it in the 20-minute block. And then when they have an extra long halftime, it drives you crazy. Last week we had a 25-minute one. Sometimes at San Jose it was because of homecoming it was 30 minutes. It's like you're in there forever because you're used to a certain amount of time to get all that done.
Belichick does like a special Super Bowl halftime preparation thing.
He practices it.
Practices his halftime because he knows he's got so much time.
Well, if we get in the championship game, then I'll practice it this year.
Sergeant, is there anything in particular that concerns you about Colorado State the most?
Everything. They're really good on special teams. Both our team and their team in the league are ranked really high and very close to each other on special teams. Okay, and they get a lot out of their special teams. I already mentioned that I think they have if you count all the receivers, they have the best receiving core that we're going to play against so far this year, better than Cal's. They have a consensus All-American wide receiver that is something special, and their quarterback is playing at a high level right now. Okay. On defense, they're pretty big and strong up front, and they've got a couple really good linebackers that attack the line of scrimmage and make a lot of plays. I mean, I'd said at the start of this, and it's true, in this league, talent-wise, you cannot tell the teams apart. They've got just as good of players as we do. And now it's all about which team plays the best and which team executes the best.
attitude an issue at all?
Not at all. That's a wives' tale. And it's even different now because we're on TV. And we have at least 3, sometimes 4 timeouts, and they last over 2 minutes to 3 minutes long because of TV. So you get a lot of rest. Now, there are times during a series of downs that you get tired. Somebody that's a hurry-up offense that gets 10 or 12 plays in, you will get tired. But then if they get stopped and have to punt or they score, you're going to get a 10-minute rest. I mean, you're going to get about a 3 or 4 minute rest for a commercial after that. Then they're going to kick off, and then you're going to get another 2 or 3 minute rest for a commercial after the kickoff. So conditioning is not the same factor it once was.
Rocky, Utah State had 2 guys at linebacker who are probably among the best in the conference, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys do so well against?
Oh, I thought the thing we did best is our offensive line performed really well. It's hard for linebackers to play well if there's a 300-pounder attached to them.
When we left spring, one of your memorable lines was, "I don't know if we have an offensive line." How have they come?
You agreed with me for the first 4 weeks of the season too, didn't you?
I don't know about that, but how have they come so? Darrell Green aside, how have they come so far from that time?
I think I think it's all about players and their attitude and their character. I mean, I think that Mike Smith's done a nice job with them. I think he's coached them well. I think Coach Horton has done a nice job running schemes that relate to the ability of our offensive linemen. But don't ever kid yourself. When you play well, it's players that are doing it. It's players taking what they've been taught and putting in, in the time and effort to perfect their craft, and then going out and playing with the emotional energy that you should play with. Players win games. Coaches do not win games. Players win games. So they've worked hard. They've gotten a little bit better as we go. Now they've got some confidence about them. So because of heart, they're talented young guys. They have some talent. They've worked really, really hard. And now they have a little confidence, so they're better. And I think the coaches have done a nice job with them. I think the coaches have taught them the right fundamentals and all that stuff. But don't ever kid yourself. We pride ourselves in running a lot of fancy schemes and all that. Players decide who wins. Coaches can lose a game. Coaches can't win a game. Coaches could have the best game plan in the world and lose. Coaches can lose games by making dumb decisions, but coaches cannot win football games.
Craighead was in on, I think, one of the short touchdown runs. Was nice to, he's kind of unfortunately become the odd man out with Green coming back, but you guys got him in and were extremely effective on that play. It's nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think now we have, because Darrell came back, we have a little depth in the offensive line, which we didn't have any. And there's a thing about college football that people forget. There's a young man that was asked to change positions his senior year in college for the good of the team. And he came back and did it to the best of his ability and allowed us to hang in there in games and even win a couple games before Darrell Green came back. Now Darrell's back and Darrell's starting. And you don't hear one complaint. He's happy that we're winning. That's a cool deal now.
How's the injury situation coming along with, I know Lomax played some. Can you tell us a bit how much he played tonight? Ricks, is he coming along like you hope? Or?
Hopefully Ricks will be back for our last 2 games. He's healing. I was told he's healing. Lomax played maybe 4 or 5 plays in the game. And since the game was in hand, there was no reason to leave him out there and give him basically another week to make sure he's 100%. He'll be the backup safety this week, and he'll play a lot more this week. The other injuries, Marcus Stamps has a sore knee, but it's not structurally damaged. So because of the kid he is, I'm saying he plays on Saturday. Jordan Watson hurt an ankle. I don't know. He's making progress. I don't know when he'll be back to play. Who else we got? I think everybody else, except the guys that are done, I think everybody else will be ready to play on Saturday.
Do you look at that as a blessing of how few starters have been injured thus far?
Yeah. I think when you look at anybody that has a chance to do good things in a season, they've been really lucky injury-wise. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, like a Baylor, how much they struggle or don't struggle the next 2 weeks as they get a new quarterback going. Injuries have a lot to do, or lack of injuries have a lot to do with success or not success.
Rocky, with the winning streak you guys have right now, how happy are you with your Aztecs team, especially since we're dealing with the Chargers that have brought some heartache the last couple? How do you get the community behind the Aztecs, I guess is my question.
I don't know. I guess keep winning. I think we were pretty happy on Friday night, and we were really happy on Saturday, and I'm sure the coaches were not happy again on Sunday, and I'm sure the players weren't. I hope they're not happy. I hope they're getting ready to play another game. I guess we just keep winning. Maybe they'll show up.
So unhappy players and a winning streak sort of go hand in hand?
I don't know. Unhappy is the wrong word. Put it in the past and focus on the next challenge is the right way to put it. But if you're still happy about the last game, it's hard to focus in on the next game.
Anything else for Coach?
The last few weeks, you guys have taken out their main offensive threat, Irvin for San Jose, and Myers last week. Who's that guy going into this week for the defense?
Yeah, I think they have too many weapons on offense to concentrate on one guy. So we gotta try to keep them all from not killing us. Now, the one that gets the most notoriety, they have a wide receiver that was a first-team All-American last year, and he's still really good. But they're spreading the ball around a little bit more than they did last year.
And with their head coach Bobo being his first season, obviously it's not the season that they expected or that he wanted. But what have you seen that he brought to this team?
Well, they've changed their offense a little bit. We haven't played them in 2 years, so I don't know exactly how it's changed. But you will see times where they're a lot like us. You'll actually see them in an I formation and the quarterback under center. Now they do run some spread things, but you'll see more of a pro-style offense, and that's probably what they did at Georgia because they had great tailbacks and all that. So they give you both. They give you a pro-style offense, and then they give you the spread-style offense. So I'm thinking that's a little different than it was the last 2 years. I'm not sure since we didn't play them. That's an interesting thing you brought up. They have a lot of starters or guys that started some of the time, a lot of them coming back off a 10-2 team last year. Okay, so I'm sure the Air Force games, they think the Air Force game is the one that's getting them kick-started, but they're used to winning and they know how to win, so that puts another hurdle in front of us that we got to be able to jump over.
Do you know this coach at all? I mean, the Utah State coach, you said it coached under you, and
Yeah, we were friends. Or we are friends. I hope we're still friends.
Okay. I guess what I was leading to is, if you like coaching against guys that you're familiar with, does that give you a sense of security, maybe a little security in the knowledge, kind of getting a feel for what they might be trying to do?
No, actually, it's better off if you don't know the coach very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it doesn't matter if it's your best friend on the other sidelines. You're going to try to beat the heck out of him. And then after the game's over and you're happy and you know how bad he feels, you kind of feel bad too. But if you don't know each other very well, that never comes into play.